It's amazing how sloppy one can play when you have no idea what you're up against, or you just never played against the deck before. That was a combination of this. So after, I think it took to like game 2 to figure out what I was playing against, and by that time it was too late sideboarding, but ended up being a good match regardless, so I thought I'd go over it. From my knowledge, it's going to be Esper Delver, so I didn't know that coming in, didn't know what the deck was, so on and so forth. This hand isn't the worst in the world. Obviously, I don't have a plains, but any type of fetch land, any plains, any ponder, any brainstorm, this hand's going to be pretty good. It has potential, and it's not the worst in the world, so I have force backup in case they do anything shady. I kept it. Plus, I hate mulliganing. It's just such a nuisance. Island Goat, nothing to do here. Okay, so at this point, Underground Sea, ponder could be a lot of things. Maybe Storm, maybe Grixis Delver, maybe Grixis Control, and whatever else plays that, which I'm sure is a lot. Flooded Strand. So here, I believe I went with Flooded Strand. I guess maybe Storm. I think that's what I could have put them on. If they were Storm, I didn't mind playing that because I had Forcible backup. And apparently they're not on Storm. Alright, so that's that. Good to know. Cool, nothing going on there. Alright, so here's the tough part. So we got, like I said, could wait another turn. I do have 2 back to basics, so I didn't mind throwing one out there. And they had a Spell Pierce. And I didn't want to force a will that because I had another. I just wanted to throw something into their counter magic and nothing else to do at that point. At this point, I actually thought they could have been a Stoneblade deck. Now we have Narset. They forced this, so I forced back. Assuming they weren't doing much. And obviously against blue decks, that's great. Snare or Brainstorm? No, whatever you want here. I think I went with Snare. And I think I realized that this deck pretty much doesn't play many 2-drops, and Daze does not count, because we're not spell snaring that. But I noticed their mana base. Okay, cool. So here I could not downtick this and then have them attack it, but I'd rather get the card here. Councils and Force. Once again, like, I think I went with the Force. Counseling and Swords, those isn't fun, knowing they're going to be playing a few more. But anyway, just from a lack of knowledge of the deck. Probably didn't have the greatest hand in the world, but still. Oh yeah, Gurmag. Okay. And I don't know if I plowed. I did force that. And then they forced that. So like sequencing, there's just a lot of crap going on here. This is me. Yeah, that's not good. Me pretty much just like playing cards. Don't worry, it gets better. I'm sure you can see where this match is going, so I'm kind of skipping through it quick. It's never a good draw. I played that just because, play a force if I need to. Bad. Okay, so Counterspell is not going to be too great, so I did Counterspell, Narset, and then Snap, so I can, at least kill the Gurmag. And I could have blocked, or next turn, and then, what's it called? Plowed one of those, but that doesn't do a whole lot. Plus, if I went for that line, they also, I think they had a plow here, so that wouldn't have worked. They would have just, plowed that, I would have died. Not like it mattered too much, but. I'm going to fast forward through this very quickly. Like I said, it's pretty challenging when you have no idea what you're up against. I've never seen this deck. I literally still thought it was like Stoneblade with, Gurmags. I don't know if there's any variations that play that. I'm not familiar with it. Let's see what we got. We can still get a sword. And here I just conceded. We didn't get anything. We're done. Okay, so at this point, I thought there was some type of Stoneblade deck, really. So my sideboarding was horrible. But let's go to game 2 anyway. All right, so now the cool part is that I love playing against Delver decks because they have so many Spell Pierces, or, you know, they have all their dazes. Now I can play intelligently around what they have to offer. So now the game is going to change for the much better. And ironically enough, like I said, I had no idea what I was playing against. I didn't know they'd have Delver. I actually took out one of my plows. That's how bad my sideboarding was, okay? But anyway, this is a solid hand. I didn't see any Wastelands. I also didn't know, well, let me put it this way. I didn't know they were on Delver, so I also wasn't sure if they had Wastelands. So I saw a ton of non-basics, and they were playing a lot of blue, so I could have brought in the Red Blast, but I chose back to basics because I feel that would have been better. But ton of mana, removal, Stoneforge. I like this hand. Probably playing a Delta first, because I can get blue. This can get white, you know, white or blue. Perfect. Sure. And notice how I am not cracking that to get a Tundra and plowing it. Alright, since they are tapped out, we don't need to fear Spell Pierce. So I believe I went for it right here. I play around Daze. They would have to have Force of Will and Daze. Okay, cool. If they had mana up, I'd probably wait one more turn. Sure, you can have it. Okay, so here, like I said, I'm not playing into Daze. If I play Stoneforge, I do have Spell Pierce backup, so I'll go for that. Spell Snare as expected. And here I am going to pierce this. They did have a Daze, I believe. That's fine. I mean, sometimes you got to play into it like that. I'm not worried about that. So that was kind of a 2-for-1, 2-for-2, whatever it was. Either way, this Delver hasn't flipped. I'm about to have 4 mana and a back to basics, so as long as this doesn't flip, even if it does flip, we got plenty of outs. There's plenty of game left. Okay, would they reveal? Brainstorm. Cool. Typical Delver game, right? Sure, you can have your main phase, main 2, Brainstorm. They got a land and a Ponder. Cool. Not bad. So here we're tapping everything but an island for some backup in case we need it. So now they are tapped out. Unless they daze one of my spells. So here we're looking for removal. We're looking for Ponder, Brainstorm, Snapcaster, not a Polluted Delta. Not sure if I played that. I don't think I did. Makes Brainstorm better. Probably next turn I'll play a Flooded Strand. Still got 3 turns. Cool. Aha, here we go. So I'm playing this first because I want to. Alright, perfect. So here, Stoneforge is going to be huge. I need to get this out. I'm pretty sure I went for that eventually. Or I mean, quickly. Or the first thing. So Island is definitely on the bottom. We don't want that. Then I think I did Narset and Stoneforge. Okay, yes. Do that. Let's play that. And I have backup for Spell Snare and also... Now here was the decision. So I can get Jitte, and I'm certainly not playing it now into Daze. But if I get it, I can play it next turn with Flusterstorm backup. And since I would be casting it, that would be an extra card. So I would certainly be able to Flusterstorm whatever they have. Or I can get Batterskull, where they would pretty much have to hit me twice. So here I went with Jitte because I can pretty much equip it next turn, attack with it, and have Flusterstorm backup. And the cool thing about actually playing it is it makes my Flusterstorm so much more powerful. Sure. You got it. Look at that mana base. Oof. Okay, so here I was thinking about actually pondering first. I didn't do that, I don't think. I think I played a land. So if I pondered first, I mean, I could have found more magic, but counter magic. Let's do this. So if that is Spell Snare, I could fluster that. Now I'm looking pretty good. If they have a Disenchant, that's getting flustered. and they have a Swords, and I have an answer for that. And they had seen enough. Okay, so completely different game once you realize what you're playing against, especially with the strategy against Delvers, pretty much establishing your mana base and then playing around their soft removal. There was one time where like I did Stoneforge and then they snared it and I pierced it and they dazed me. That's fine. I'm not too worried about that. Sometimes you will have to play into things like that, but overall, like, you know, second turn I played around Spell Pierce. I had a mana open, so things like that. You just want to make sure you can actually get your spells out there where they can't pierce you or they're going to have to like double daze you or daze and force or something along that. But let's go to game 3. Alrighty, we are on the draw since we won, of course. And this is I started a new batch of 50 games and I put Ashiok in. I just wanted to test her. I feel like it's a solid card. It has so much potential. It can come in against a lot of decks, and I decided to bring it in. Aside from that, I really like this hand. You might think there's a lot of land in it, but against Delver, we get to hit our land drops. We get to find more with Ponder, and we have removal. I think this is a really solid hand. I like this, so I'm keeping it. Pretty much have everything we need. First turn Delver is fine. I am going to first turn Ponder. If they want to daze that, that's fine. Even better. Okay, so I believe what I did here was Delta, and then I forgot what the order I did. So Delta, then Swords, then back to basics. Sure. Okay, and that's about it. I wasn't sure if they played discard. They might. If I lost the back to basics, I don't think it would have been as big of a deal. They probably would have taken the Swords, but either way, you know, next turn I can play that, or the second turn after that. And Delver does not flip, which is always great for us. So now they have this little 1/1 doing its thing. Not doing anything else. That's what I like to see. Looks familiar. So now, I believe I played did I play a Flooded Strand? The good thing is that if I play a Flooded Strand, I can fetch if I don't want the, what's it called? The land next. But I think I did want the land because I'm not sure. Either way, notice how I did not Swords right here. I'm pretty sure. Please don't Swords. Okay, I don't want to contradict myself. That happens every now and then. Notice how I didn't Swords and then actually Swords. This plays around, you know, Spell Pierce. This plays around pretty much Spell Pierce, Daze. So if I did this, they could double Daze or just Spell Pierce. I wanted to get more mana. Like I said, this Delver isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Even if it cracks me for 3 here, it's not a big deal. Didn't flip, which is great. But next turn, I get to play around Spell Pierce, which is awesome. Like, I'm in no hurry to use this. That's where I feel a lot of people lose. Like, in that situation, like, oh, I have a mana open. They play Swords, it gets Spell Pierced, and it's like shit. And then you start feeling the pressure, and you got to jam spells into their you know, soft permission. Sure, you can have it. Still, once again, I am not dazing here. Perfect. So, I believe what I did here is play either a Delta or probably a Delta. Yeah, because that can get Island, and then, you know, that can get Plains. That already is Plains. And here's where I went for the first one. Make their life much more difficult. And once again, they're back to 1 Delver. Flips, it's not a big deal. Next turn, I have Plow with, you know, Spell Pierce, which they have a lot of mana, but still. Cool. And they had a Daze. Awesome. It's good to know. And look at this. This is it's funny because, like, this is going to make them crack their lands, and then this is, you know, we'll tap them when they use them. Well, it won't tap them, but okay, so here's another one. Do I Swords? Do I Stoneforge? Well, first I'm probably playing a land. I guess Plains. Okay, no, not Plains. Okay, that's fine. We know they have a Daze, and we need to get this off the board, so I'm guessing... yes. Okay, that's what I did. Let's get this off the board since it's now a 3-2. They do nothing. It's also so much more scarier. Like, if they want to Force of Will that, they have no idea what I have in my hand. I could have Counterspell, I could have Force of Will, I could have, you know, something else, more Spell Pierces. So it's also much more intimidating as, you know, to the Delver player, not knowing what I have in my hand, showing up all this mana. I could pretty much have almost anything. because I'm taking my time getting rid of these Delvers, slowly but surely. Okay, so they do play that. Spell Piercing does nothing, they just pay for it. Sure. I could have played that last turn. Probably, I probably could have, but I don't know I didn't. But if someone's like, why didn't you play that? It's a good question. I could have not. But here I am against Delver. I'm at 15 life. We're on turn 5, and I have some serious haymakers. So we do know that they have Daze in their hands. So I have a few options here. I could play Back to Basics. They also know about all of these cards right here, these 3. They don't know that I have a backup Back to Basics. So what I'm going to be doing is playing one of these here. Okay, there's that. Okay, Spell Pierce, that's awesome. I will definitely pay for that. And we also know that they have a Daze as well. And another Spell Pierce, nice. See, do you see all that counter magic I was playing around? I guess they didn't have 2 of them before because they might have been able to Daze it or Spell Pierce it, but like I said, I'm sure they at least must have had one previously. There was a ton of times where I could have plowed with 1 mana up, and that could have lost me the game. I am in no hurry whatsoever. Until now. Until now. Okay, that's fine. You've got it. Cool. And that's a nice little draw, isn't it? So, I believe I'm going for the Stoneforge here. Yep. Probably could have tapped the other way. Also, I didn't want to play any of these into Daze, just no need to. Just trading spells, just play around it. And here I went for Batterskull because I need to start gaining some life. It can at least block it. I can do some, return to my hand, bring it back in, stabilize, gain life, so on and so forth. Jitte's not going to do much in the face of that. You got it. My Spell Pierce is starting to look worse, but that's okay. Okay, now, here's where the fun part comes. So what we can do here, I know they have a Daze. So if I play True-Name, if I play Back to Basics isn't looking good right now. This isn't the worst, but if I play if I play True-Name, that means I'm only going to have 2 mana open. So if I play this, a very smart player, what they would do is actually Daze that, where if I pay for it, it means I'm not getting Batterskull into play next turn. And I did not like that. So what I actually did here is I believe I threw out like a shitty spell into it to see if they would, Daze it. This also makes them fetch. Because if they Daze this, that's fine. I wasn't going to pay for it. But they decided not to, which I was very surprised. Because, it's either Daze this and I pay for it, or Daze it and I don't so I can bring in Batterskull. And pretty much this started doing a ton of work. Let's see what we were exiling. So this was already exiled, or this is what it did exile? Okay, so we're not sure exactly, but I removed those from the game, and then a bunch of other stuff. Okay, cool. Anyway. You got it. And they still have that Daze in their hand. Alright, so I added 2 options here. I could have blocked and then brought in Batterskull, or I could have just brought in Batterskull and then blocked and gained 4 life. I went with bringing it in early. Even if that died, I had True-Name next turn, so I wasn't too worried about that. So I went for the life gain option here. And even if they plow the germ, eventually I can just connect it to True-Name. They actually ended up having a Disenchant, which is the worst possible source there. But like I said, I probably did that because I had a True-Name. If I didn't have a True-Name in my hand, I probably would have chumped and then, brought in Skull. That's fine. Okay, so first I believe... Okay, I did this. First things first. And then Ashiok. Let's see if we can figure out what cards they exiled. I'm not sure. But yeah, we're getting a lot more in their deck. We got a Narset. We got 2 Delvers there. Doing a little work. Now I could attack for 1. I'm not sure if they play something that's like, you know, -1/-1. So I decided not to attack. What's that creature? The new one where, you know, creature type gets -1/-1, like the Plague Engineer, whatever it is. I don't know if they're playing that. Like I said, I'm not very familiar with this deck. So we just stare at each other. Great draw. So what I did here is I put a stop on my opponent's draw step here. And once again, went to work with Ashiok. Let's see if we can figure out what they got. Another Delver. Okay, so that's 3 Delvers gone. Nice. Narset, ponder. Sure. Like I said, I set a stop on their draw. Let's see what they have. And look at that. It's funny, Ashiok stopping both of those. This is doing nothing, like, because that's the way you play against Delver. Wasteland's doing nothing because we're not fetching non-basics like a smart Magic player. And they pretty much have absolute crap in their hand. And that's perfect. They can keep their days. And that's that. I wrote down what they have in their hand. Or that does it too. So there's that. Marsh Flats. Cool. So now we can actually start attacking. Delta. Not sure if I played that. I also it's initiate Ashiok too. Be the last time. Lingering Souls. Awesome. Got both of them. I don't know if they play more than 2, but that was a good hit. 2 Lingering Souls. 3 Delvers are done. Perfect. Let's start attacking. I'm saving this for a Brainstorm. Or a Ponder or something. And here I am playing back to basics in case they want to get tricky and play something. I don't think it's going to hurt too much. If I draw a force, I can pitch Pierce to it. Yeah, we knew about that. So now they have those 3 and just 1 mystery. Awesome. So I got a Snapcaster. I wanted to Snapcaster Plow right here because once I plow that, I can pretty much just start attacking. And I didn't do this again. I wanted to keep those fetches dead in their hand. And they had seen enough. Okay, so this went from sloppy jalopy, horrible playing, like never played Magic before in the first game. That ran into the second one. Like I boarded out one of my plows. I thought it was like, you know, Gurmag Angler, like with Grixis Control, where they take that out. So maybe I figured they wouldn't use that. They also had Lingering Souls, so I'm like, swordsing that doesn't feel that great. So, yeah, once I figured out what they were on, this game became so much easier. It was like night and day, and I'm pretty sure you saw that in some of the decisions in the first one. There was probably that one little misstep. I wouldn't say a misstep, but I had the opportunity to play Stoneforge, and I didn't. I'm not sure, maybe I thought they had a Spell Snare or whatever the reason was, but hey, it ended up working out well because they did a Thought Seize and that allowed me to keep the other cards, which did pretty well, kind of well. This isn't, you know, kind of preventing them from tapping. This is just like shutting off their hand. They have this crap in their hand, and this also put so many good cards in their graveyard, or, excuse me, not in the graveyard, in exile. I had Swords those, but we had, so that's 3 are done. Oh, they brought in a Winter Orb. Nice. Narset's gone. Ponder, Batterskull? Really? Did I exile my own graveyard or something? No. Okay. I guess they have Batterskull. So maybe they are Stoneforge. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know this deck too much. But that should be it. Maybe it's like Esper Delverblade or something. But either way, I hope you enjoyed. Play around days, play around their soft permission, and these matchups will be so much easier. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.